Hey guys, this is the Hornet Network. Today is my debut of my full interview with Coach Kemper. Me and Coach talk about a variety of different subjects, to why he couldn't say no to the Roswell job, to who are the impact players on the football team this year. We also dive into his playing and coaching background. And I also, at the end of the interview, get his thoughts on the Georgia transfer rule that most likely is going to be put in place by the Georgia High School Association. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview. Well, today we have a special guest here on the Hornet Network. We got Coach Kemper. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it, and appreciate all you do for the football program.
What was it about this place when Coach Cohen offered you the job that you just couldn't say no?
And Roswell is a special place, and it's a unique place, in an area of the country that's growing so fast, with all the expansion in Forsyth County and new schools popping up, and Roswell has kind of always been that kind of a shining beacon of what small town America is all about. And it truly is a community, and you can feel it out there. I mean, you go to Publix and people are going to probably stop you and ask you how we're going to be this year, Coach.
Yeah.
It's a really neat place, and it's fun to be part of it. Even before I came to the state of Georgia, looking around and researching places, I stumbled across the Roswell football website, and that was about the time that Coach McFarland and the Hornets had won a state championship, and it's been a program that you kind of always have your eye on, and certainly when this opportunity came, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it didn't take very long for the yes to come out of my mouth. I was excited about the opportunity and very honored and very humbled to be here.
Now, you talk about people approaching you at Publix, asking how we're going to be. I think another thing that they're going to be curious about is what is Roswell football going to look like under the Matt Kemper era?
Well, I mean, this is not a lot of the jobs that I've had, and this is I lose track sometime, 8th or 9th coaching stop. Hopefully my final one. I mean, football has changed a lot. I can remember back in the 90s when we were, two backs in the backfield, and the game has changed, and the way it's played has changed, and the kind of kids that play it have changed, and everybody's kind of doing a little bit of the same things, and we're not looking to completely overhaul things, but the biggest difference, for our kids is just learning a different verbiage and different terminology. We're still going to run the zone read, and we're still going to run power, and we're still going to do those things, and throw the quick game and throw screens and try to get the ball vertically down the field, and so it's not a huge necessarily difference in what we're doing. It's maybe how we're doing it, and what we call it. Football coaches are notorious for we all do the same things, but we all have to call it our own name, I guess.
Right. What do you want Roswell football to be known for?
Just that we put a great product out on the field, and that when our kids are away from the game, they're doing the right things. That we're hopefully developing young men of character, young men that this community can be proud of, that the school can be proud of, that their families can be proud of, and they're doing the right things academically, doing the right things socially, and as well as being outstanding football players and an outstanding program.
Now, you kind of briefly touched on some of the X's and O's, and I want to get into that right now. What are some changes that we're going to see as fans to the offense and defense?
Probably the biggest change, is defensively. We're three-man front. And that kind of plays into the personnel that we have. I guess if you look at kind of our strength defensively, it's linebacker type kids.
Right.
Kids that are good size and long and can run, and that being in a three-man front kind of plays into that, whereas the team that was on the field the last couple of years, probably the strength of it was that defensive line.
Right.
And you know, if that's an area that I don't want to say we're lacking or we're weak, but we don't have a lot of those type of kids necessarily running around right now. And you know, certainly with the three-man front, it helps with you know, everybody's doing some type of spread offense, and it helps with adjustments and making sure that you're covered up and that everything's sound.
Right. Who are some impact players that you feel like are going to step up on the offensive side of the ball this year?
I mean, obviously, you know, Tyneil Hopper's a young man that's being heavily recruited by just about everybody in the country, and he did a lot of good things for us in the spring, and he's had a great summer here with 7-on-7, and you know, he's a young man that's got some leadership abilities, and he'll be a guy that'll be important in what we do. You know, the challenge for us is, you know, being able to move him around at different spots where the defense has got to find him, and doing that at a high tempo, and trying to get him in some mismatches. You know, along with him, I mean, Cordell Littlejohn that's come into Roswell in January, had a ton of success up in North Carolina. I think 50-plus touchdowns, and he's an outstanding young man. He's working his tail off, and he's doing all the right things. You know, and then Walt Warren is a young man that we've, in the spring at least, had moved to an outside receiver, and you know, I think he's getting comfortable out there, and he's getting his feet under him, and did some outstanding things for us in the spring game. And you know, then along with that, we got a lot of role players that we'll need to get the most out of and give them an opportunity to contribute. Hopefully that you know, ends up on the good side of the scoreboard for the Hornets.
Yeah. Talk about the other side of the ball now. Who are some guys that you feel like are going to stand out on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, you know, when you talk about returning starters, I mean, Jesse Bridgman is a kid that you know, started last year, and he's really, him and Tyneil are two kind of returning starters. But then and Jesse does a lot of great things. I mean, he runs well. He's a very, very intelligent kid, kind of always in the right place, and has a great nose for the football. You know, and Cole Anderson is a young man that played a considerable amount, and he just, I mean, that kid outworks everybody in the weight room, and makes the most out of what he has. You know, then Cordell Littlejohn's younger brother Jamal is a young man that could be very impactful on a game. And then there's another Hopper, Tyron, who had played corner previously, and we moved him to outside linebacker, and he's a long kid. He can run. Made some plays in the spring game, and has done a lot of great things in 7-on-7, and you know, it's a new position for him, and he's just getting comfortable there as well. And then, you know, we've got some new faces on the back end. You know, at the safety, Sam Antona and Josh Reed and Jaden Henderson at corners, and some new guys up front. You know, DeAndre Johnson is a big kid that does a lot of good things, and great worker in the weight room. And Matt Dovale and Sean Rosenquist are guys that are going to get their chance to show what they can do. They want it, and they've, you know, some of those older guys have waited a long time for this chance, and you know, really feel like they're going to make the most of it.
Right. Better coach kids that want it, that want to be here.
Oh, definitely, and you know, that's the greatest thing about Roswell High School is these kids know how to work. They are not afraid of hard work, and you know, most days the harder we work them, the more they want more.
I know you're an Ohio guy.
Yes, sir.
I know that you spent some time in Florida, and that you've been coaching here in Georgia for 9 years. So just tell me about your coaching background and playing background.
Well, I was, you know, born and raised in Ohio. Played there at the original Miami University, and like I said, when we were off camera, had no intent of ever being a teacher or a coach. I was actually a pre-med major and wanted to go to veterinary school. That didn't work out. Had a short little stint in training camp in New York, and was young and married and needed a job. So I worked in biomedical research for a few years. I worked as a machinist and ran a machine shop for a couple of years, and then went back and got certified to teach because you're away from this game and it kind of calls to you. Wanted the opportunity. There have been a lot of people in my life, and particularly my coaches, along with my parents, that had great influence on me. And I go back to Ohio and I'll go see Coach Blake and thank him for everything he did for me. But the best thing I can do is do that for some other young man, and pay that forward. And so I've been blessed now. I'll be doing this for 25 years. I coached 10 years in Ohio, kind of up and down the 75 corridor there in Toledo and Dayton and Lima, Ohio, and Sydney. And having 4 children, I wanted to go somewhere that had a state scholarship program like Georgia and Florida do, and had spring practice. And I was blessed to go to Florida for 5 years. Totally different kind of football down there, with some great players. And then, had a lot of friends in coaching and some college guys that used to tell me, if they retired from college coaching, they would want to be in that Cobb County and North Fulton area of Georgia.
Interesting.
Beautiful country and great football and great communities, and was blessed to be able to come here in 2008, I believe it was, and get the job at Pope, and we had a great run there and had some success, won a region title, and just some great kids and great families. And my younger 3 children all graduated from there. My oldest son graduated from school at Lake Howell High School in Florida, and then the opportunity at Johns Creek came open, and we had a good run, and we had some great kids and a good staff, and we were able to win a region championship there. And now I'm truly in God's country, in Roswell, Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. Know how you feel about players that transfer into here, because I know that's kind of like right now a hot topic discussion around the high school football circuit, and I just want to know what your feelings on that, because I know in the past, especially with the old coaching staff, that was something that was welcome. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on transfer players.
Well, I mean, it's it's a very sticky kind of situation. I mean, and it's kind of like your opinion of it is kind of like which side of the bathroom door you're on.
Right. Absolutely.
And certainly when it happens and it's to your benefit, you're all for it. When it happens and it's to your negative, it can be frustrating. The thing about this, about Roswell High School is it's a great school. We have an unbelievable faculty, and I've gotten to meet a lot of those people and see their passion for kids and for teaching and for Roswell, and combine that with a football program that has been ultra successful. Not just, Coach Ford did some unbelievable things here, and he's a friend of mine. He's a great man. He's a heck of a coach. But the whole tradition of this place, from Coach Horn to Coach Manus to Coach McFarland and Coach Baker, this is truly small town America and high school football heaven.
Right.
And certainly kids are going to want to be part of that.
Right.
And as long as they're doing it the right way, we're certainly and they come in and they buy into the philosophies that we have in our program, then great. We certainly want those guys walking the walk and talking the talk and doing all the right things like we talked about earlier, whether it's on the field or in the classroom or out around town on Saturday night.
Right.
So it's something that the GHSA is certainly looking into, and probably there's going to be changes coming down the road, but those are going to be decisions made by people much smarter than me that make a whole lot more money too.
Right.
And you know, we're just going to make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Absolutely. It's one of the great things about this place, that they want to do things the right way.
And you know, we're blessed with Coach Cohen, you know, as our athletic director, and you know, we're obviously we're going through a change here with a new principal, and you know, I know Dr. Shaw, because he was actually worked at Pope when I was first hired there. He was the athletic director, and he's an outstanding administrator and a great man. And so was Mr. Huff. I mean, Mr. Huff is an unbelievable guy. The energy that he brings and the passion that he brings, and we're certainly sorry to see him kind of ride off into the sunset. But we're blessed that you know, with Coach Cohen being there, kind of gives us a lot of stability, and makes that a much smoother transition. And you know, that guy has been here 40 plus years.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Roswell Hornet to the bone, and he loves this place and loves these kids, and he helps us and makes sure that we're dotting all our I's, crossing all our T's, and doing things the right way.
What do you want this team to be known for off the field?
Well, that we're linked in with this community. You know, I mean, there are very few places in the state, very few places in the world that are, and a lot of guys they'll go through high school here and never really understand that until they're away from it.
Right.
And you know, we want to do things to give back to the community. You know, we're looking at right now what's our community service project going to be for this season, and you know, something that hits everywhere is hunger, and we're looking at maybe doing a canned food drive, that kind of thing. And we want to be involved in the community. You know, we want our guys to appreciate what they have here. And you know, I think that's another reason that so many people, you talked about former players still being in the community, is people graduate from here, they go off to college or whatever they might do, and they come back.
Right.
Because it is such a special place, and it's pretty neat to be part of.
So there's a community project that you're going to do in the works right now, or is anything official?
Nothing official yet, but you know, we want to try to do something each year, and hopefully it's for a lot of years, and you know, something that gives back. You know, I talked a little bit about that whole people helped me, and my duty is to pay that forward, and that's another kind of core value that we try to instill in our guys, that you know, you can't thank your parents enough, you can't thank your teachers enough, so you got to help somebody else. You know, and it was on display this week in a great way. You know, we had a lot of our kids working the youth camp at the parks, and you know, they're awesome to watch. I mean, they are passionate about helping those guys be successful, and it's very refreshing, you know, in today's society.
What do you want to say right now to the fan base? Because last year we sold out this thing for just about all the home games and all the playoff games we had here. So you have this great following of support. What do you want to say to those people?
Well, I would just, and you know, you could speak for an hour, but I mean, the thing that comes to the top of my mind is you know, I fully appreciate and am honored and am humbled by the tradition that's here, and you know, not just the recent success, but the whole body of success. And I certainly wake up every morning and go to sleep every night feeling that responsibility, and I'm going to do everything that I can do to take care of it. You know, we're in the middle right now of, you know, there's a million things going on all summer, when a lot of folks think you know, it's off time. But you know, our guys are getting pictures for advertisements in the program, and they're getting pictures for the banner that goes out on near the intersection there of King and Hardscrabble, and we're talking about what's the slogan going to be, and the thing that the kids have really seemed to like the most was one that said, "On a mission to protect the tradition."
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool saying.
And I fully embrace that and understand that now. At the same time, Coach Cohen in his office has a sign and it says, "Pressure is a privilege." Mm-hmm. We're going to do everything that we can do to protect this place and what it is. However it happens on the field, somebody might make a play that we don't make, but I can promise that they won't outwork us.
Right. So what was it again? That slang?
On a mission to protect the tradition.
On a mission to protect the tradition.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach.
Thank you
for your time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Hornet fans, be sure to be at Georgia State Stadium on August 18th for the Hornets' first game in the Corky Kell Classic against South Forsyth. If you don't know what Georgia State Stadium is, that is the old Turner Field, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you Hornet fans know how to get there. Also, on September 22nd is the first home game. That is going to come by faster than you think, so we need you to fill these stands here and get loud for these Hornets.